Hello.
Hello?
Hello. What's up, bro?
Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast. I am Nary Signs.
You know the questions not on here that I could have said yes to would have been a cock ring. I'm like, oh, I've done that.
With me as always is Stephanie Ulloa.
The only reason he was invited was because he was dating my friend. It was like a pity invite. And he was like one of the first people to get there. What a loser.
And we have Missy
Yes, I'm here.
is also here.
Missy is also here. A girl has no last name.
Not anymore. Am I right?
And special correspondent by Steph Mayer Sr.
Yeah, I don't have to look cute for you.
And this is the What's Up Bro podcast.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
What movie brought them together?
What's it gotta
That
be?
movie about they did some haunted house movie. Babe, what was the movie that they were in together?
The House on Haunted Penis.
Dreamhouse. Rising
Basic.
actor Daniel
Basic.
Craig had been friends for many years and worked together on the film Dreamhouse. They began dating in December 2010.
She was
And they
married to Darren
married in
Aronofsky.
June.
She was married to who?
I knew it was a director. Darren Aronofsky.
Oh, I know. Yeah, well, I know. I was about to say I know Darren. Like, I know him. I know of Darren. I've heard of Darren.
Yeah, like he's on your speed dial. Yeah, he did like Black Swan, and he's done a couple.
Also, can we talk
Well,
about...
but didn't he end up with...
Requiem for a Dream? You know.
Also, can we talk about the fact that Stephanie just said speed dial as if that's still a thing?
Oh my God, you're right.
He's on your speed dial. I'm like, what the fuck is a speed dial? Like,
Everyone's on speed dial now.
That's hilarious.
oh,
Everyone's
shit.
on speed dial.
Well, welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast. It's been a while, and we left you for far too long. But I am Nary Signs. With me, as usual, is Stephanie
Hi.
and Missy.
Hello.
Give me 1 second. My wife is texting me, and I
Why
can't
did you
answer the
die?
phone. My wife is texting me, and I can't answer the phone.
Oh, because you're doing this on your phone.
Correct. Recording.
So, Steph, how's it going?
No, that's it. That's it. It was just a
How
text.
are you? Oh, are we supposed to vamp? That's what we're supposed to do now?
So, thank you guys for checking
We're
us out.
terrible at this.
I know. It's been a while too, man. We're out of practice. We are out of
We're
practice.
rusty.
The last time we did
Like
this,
riding a biker, it's fine.
the last time we did this, we were
I see what you
talking
did
about Tiger King.
For real?
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
No.
that was the last episode. It was, hey, are you cool cats and kittens? And then I did an episode with Ari Spears. That was the last one. But I'm talking about the last one, that time that
Aw.
we've been together. Why? I mean, why?
I'm looking at
I mean,
it.
you
The last
would
time-
know.
So there was March 21st, then April 1st, then the next episode was May 11th with Ari Spears,
Mm-hmm.
and then in June 16th it was The World Is on Fire, and that was it.
Was it The World on Fire? Oh, that's right. When we talked about all the protests.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought we had it done,
Still, it's been a
But
while.
then, but that was it.
but it's almost the end of August.
Yeah. So it's been a while.
And we have a list
Yeah, we made a list of
that
things.
includes the word cuckold, and honestly, that's where I want to start because what happened there?
Do you not know what that is?
Wait,
I do know what that is.
you're stopping.
okay.
You're talking weird, and then like it sounds weird. Like you put your hand over your mouth or something, and it sounds weird now.
Okay, so now do I sound fine?
That's a huge world of difference. Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Okay,
I'm
so
sure the
why
listeners are like,
cuckold on- Yeah, no, I know that they were like, man, I really want to hear her voice, like super clear.
Oh.
Why is Cuckold on the list?
Cuckold is on the list of topics because it's been in the news lately. It was trending yesterday. I think it was yesterday, And
cocaine was trending yesterday too.
Well, cocaine should be trending every day in Miami. I got to be honest with you. I'm a little disappointed.
No, but it was trending because of the convention.
Yes, I know, but I'm a little disappointed in Miami for it not staying on trending topic at all times. That's like how Miami Twitter should always be. But so the cuckold, Steph, you know the story better than I do because I know the. I've been watching the story.
Wait, can I say something before you go into it?
Sure.
Just in case you were curious, if you wanted to Google the word, it only takes at the very fourth is when you get the porn movies. So just an FYI, just so we're all on the same page.
Okay.
So there's this couple, Becky and Jerry Falwell.
Jerry Falwell Jr.
Jerry Falwell.
Because his dad is also, and I wouldn't be surprised if his dad is also a cuckold or was back in the day. But I'm saying, things have changed.
Yeah. They are large Trump supporters and donors. He is the head of Liberty University. Apparently, they've been engaging in a throuple situation where they hired this guy, Giancarlo Granda. He's from Miami, so Florida man.
Of course, Miami. Whoop, whoop.
They met him when he was a bartender at the Fontainebleau. Because why wouldn't he be?
I mean, the only way to make it more Miami is if they would have met at La Carreta or something. Like
that was afterwards.
Versailles.
That was afterwards.
Yeah.
Afterwards they went to Versailles and they went to
yeah, and he basically they would engage in so Giancarlo would have intercourse with Becky and Jerry would watch.
Yeah, that's the very definition of cuckold. Like the very strict definition of cuckold.
Right.
To watch people have sex?
Yeah, to watch somebody
watch your partner.
To watch your partner and having sex with somebody else is cuckolding.
Right.
If you're just watching two random people have sex, then that's voyeurism.
Yeah, then that's just voyeur, exactly.
Yeah.
So how is that different from swinging?
Swinging means he's not fucking.
Swinging is right. Swinging is when you're like trading partners with another couple.
Jerry Falwell is not getting laid in this situation.
No,
he's just watching other dudes. He's just watching another dude bang his wife.
He's just being supportive, I guess. He's being a supportive partner.
Hey, dude, I'm not even judging him for this. I got to be honest with you. I've watched plenty of cuckold porn.
No, I'm more judging on the fact that they're Trump supporters and they're Trump donors.
Absolutely.
You do you. Whatever works in your marriage, I mean, you do you.
See, but here's the thing. Famously, his dad more so than him, but famously, they have been very quote-unquote family values, and they've been very much about like the Bible and like marriage is only for a man and a woman and they're
part of the family values the family values
generation
political party.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
So obviously when you push that down everybody's throat, that only means you have like dirty secrets.
Well, I know what else was being pushed down somebody's throat. Boom.
Yeah, this all leaked because he did an interview he basically spilled the beans to Reuters, and there.
He said that it brought him great depression, but I'm like, you kept going back though.
Well, they also they had like a business agreement with him. And apparently like they didn't like live up to their end of the bargain, so he's basically just like squealing like a pig. So.
Who? What do you mean he? Who's he? Which one? There's two dudes in this scenario.
Giancarlo
is not living up to his end of the bargain.
Jerry and like the Falwells were not living up to like their business agreement with Giancarlo. So Giancarlo is now.
Oh, so Giancarlo. So did Jerry just get in front of it? Jerry was like, "I'm gonna spill the beans before the shit comes out, before shit hits the fan." Is that what he was doing?
No, he got ratted out. No,
got ratted out.
Wait, I'm confused. I thought it was. I'm confused. I thought it was Jerry that was spilling the beans in an interview.
Now he is.
Oh, okay.
He tried to get ahead of it. He spoke to the Washington Examiner, but it went to Reuters first.
So my question is, all all of the happenings, and you didn't think of putting together a non-disclosure agreement like that. That seems kind of negligent.
That seems kind of standard for these kinds of arrangements. I feel like if I'm introducing a third person and I'm a person of note or some kind of influence, I
don't know how legal. I don't know how legal that would. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but I don't know how legal a non-disclosure agreement would be with a relationship. It's not a business transaction.
You can have a non-disclosure agreement.
But if there was a, but
I don't know how legal it would. I don't know if it would stand up in court. Like, how do you hold that? Like,
of course it would.
It's like saying it's like saying I have a contract that she's gonna fuck me 10 times a year. I'm like, that's called prostitution, and you can't really enforce that. That's not really a thing.
You can.
I'm pretty sure
people can enter into non-disclosure agreements for whatever.
Right,
it doesn't have to be like business related.
I'm sure they can enter into the non-disclosure agreement. I just don't know how much that could be defended in a court of law. I don't know how much that would be enforceable in a court of law. You could enter whatever. Me and you could have a contract and be like, we're gonna fuck Dave 5 times a year. Like, but that doesn't mean
never have that contract with you.
Trust me, with you, never. Dave, never. Absolutely.
I'd rather get hit by a bus.
I would rather fuck a coconut dry. So it was. That's a callback to the listener.
This is getting uncomfortable.
Why? This is a conversation he and I have had many times on this podcast.
That's actually the title. That's actually the title of our sex tape. This is getting uncomfortable. It's actually the title of our sex tape.
It's a shame that we don't have like any lawyer friends we could ask about this.
Well, here's what I know in my limited understanding of non-disclosure agreements is that so long as you can enter into one and it's bound to the laws of the state where you signed it. As far as I'm concerned, I could be totally wrong, but this is what I remember from what I learned. So, like, let's say if they were fucking in California, but the non-disclosure was in Florida, they couldn't. California's laws wouldn't apply. Like, it's non-transferable.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, Stormy Daniels literally had a non-disclosure agreement against Stormy Daniels, the douchebag in the White House, had a non-disclosure agreement when he paid her to have sex with him while his wife was pregnant with their son. Because family values. The peeing thing is fine.
Obviously.
Peeing thing is fine. But
okay, that's okay.
That is fine. It's all consensual is fine, but when you're
as long as it's consensual, yes.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, I mean, I guess
without my consent.
But
I don't want to be peed on, period. But I mean, I guess if someone's agreeing to it,
sometimes, and it's okay to be a prude. That's fine. But we're talking here specifically.
That's fine. I don't want someone else's urine on me, and that makes me a prude. I'm totally fine with that.
That's exactly what we're saying. So we understand, and we back you up, BFF. What I'm saying is if the guy in the White House couldn't. They had a non-disclosure, like Stormy Daniels. All right, let's fuck. I'm gonna pay you a fucking boatload of money, but you cannot tell anybody. And she signed a non-disclosure, and then she fucking still ratted him out, and they didn't do anything to her. They couldn't arrest her. They couldn't
because you can put a time limit on it too,
right?
Because it could run out after some amount of years. So I'm sure that when she signed it back when 15 years ago.
No,
I don't think he was planning on being.
It was when she was pregnant with his son. How old is his son? The youngest.
Eric?
Yeah, the youngest. The youngest. The youngest.
Oh, Barrett?
The youngest he's like 12 or something.
Yeah. No, I think he's like 14.
Yeah.
Hang on.
So
what happens is that I'm sure that if he signed it, he's 14. He's 14. So
this came out 2 years ago. So yeah, that would be 14 years ago. She was pregnant with him, and then he fucked another woman.
He probably put in a time limit, but he didn't expect him to be president. So,
all I'm saying
I don't know, like something about him is he doesn't seem to plan ahead. It's really weird. I get that vibe from him.
So Jerry Falwell Jr.
Fly by the seat of his pants.
I'm not judging him for wanting. Some people get off on that. Some people get off on watching their significant other get plowed by somebody else, and that I gotta be honest with you. I've watched plenty of porn where dudes are cockholding, and I'm down with it. But
I said, well, I don't care about what you do in your private life. But if you're gonna, What I do care about is like hypocrisy.
Right.
And I think this is like a little bit of a societal issue too, like just in defense, not in defense of these people, just to play like devil's advocate. Just as a whole, as a society, we frown upon these kinds of situations where like a third person is introduced into a consensual relationship and everybody involved is like okay with it or whatever. I can't remember her name and I'll Google it. But there was a congresswoman last year that stepped down because it was discovered that she was in a throuple. And it was all consenting adults, and they weren't doing anything wrong other than but in the views of the world, that's a bad thing.
Because the lie is still valid.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
We're still running on that.
Yeah, you can't be you can't be anti-abortion and anti-gay marriage and then be like, I'm gonna let somebody else prom my wife. Like that doesn't jive.
I'm gonna look her up, but I feel like she was a Democrat, so I don't think that like necessarily.
Well,
I'm not talking about her specifically. I'm just talking about in general.
No.
Like that's where the beef comes in.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
But for politicians who are anti-abortion, the large majority of them, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that they're anti-abortion because it's a political strategy, because their mistresses and their side bitches will for sure 100% always get a 5-star abortion when they need one and as many as they want.
Whoa. Why they got to be bitches, Missy? Why they got to be bitches, bro?
I said side bitches.
Why they gotta be bitches, Missy? Why can't they be side ladies?
Side bitches.
Why can't they be side ladies?
Side bitches are side bitches. Okay? I have the authority here. Plus, I would also say that, like, yeah, that's what it is about. So it's like, you can say whatever the fuck you want, but they're also shit. Like, every single last one of them. And I'm not just referring to the right. I'm talking about the left too. Everybody's fucking lying. So it's believe no one.
So the congresswoman that had this issue last year was Katie Hill. She's from California's 25th district.
How old is she?
Which is like, she's 32.
She smoke? Is she a smoke show?
He would be the one to decide.
I don't feel like this is the best picture of her, but she's like cute enough. I can try to find a better picture.
Nah, that's good. That's good. Está buena. La veterana, bro. La veterana.
Dave said it was acceptable. Anyway, hold on. Let me find like better pictures of her. But yeah, she was involved in a throuple, and it was a consensual throuple, and she ended up having to step down because it was just people found out about it, and we frown upon that behavior.
It'd be weird if it wasn't a consensual throuple. Like, that's just you cheating on your wife. Yeah, she's hot, bro. Yeah, she's a smoke show. Yeah. Yeah, good for her. And the 2 other people involved consensually.
So she was the first openly bisexual member of Congress.
And she proved that with her actions. See what I'm saying, bro? Not hypocrisy. I like the fact that she was like, I'm bisexual. Trust me when I tell you I'm bisexual.
A Democrat, so she's pro-choice, pro-choice and pro-gay marriage. And
why did she step down? So dumb.
Because they probably should have. The political pressure to respond accordingly to that is stupid. It's like because it's this thing where it's like, I think that a lot of people there's a shift now where we're seeing a lot of there's like trans people getting elected into office, obviously gay, bisexual, all the members of the LGBTQ plus community are making their power move, so to speak. But I also feel like it's kind of like, but be like they want it a certain way. Like you could be bisexual, but don't have a scandal. You could be gay, but your spouse is not, like, I'm sure we can elect a gay president, and it'll be a huge thing if the first lady or the first gentleman moves into the White House, as because that's the tradition. Like, it's going to be a problem. So it's like, I think there's like a push-pull, in my opinion.
I think part of the problem also was because the woman that was the third party in their throuple was
your cousin?
Was one of her congressional staffers. So,
conflict of interest.
Yeah, so I think that was part of the issue also. But I agree with you. I agree that we want. And I'm not saying we as in, like, I'm not including me. I'm saying we in the bigger picture. Like, we do want to move forward progressively, but there is still like a box that we're trying to fit these people into. And it shouldn't be that way because, like, again, whatever happens between like consenting adults is really like not a big deal. I don't think they're not hurting anybody, you know, it's not that serious, but we're still trying to, we're not there yet. We're barely there with getting LGBTQ plus people into positions of power. We're not ready for them to like.
Sex is such a weird thing. Sex is such a weird thing with people. It is like, socially speaking, as a society, we are like, it's so weird. You're like, for the most part, a lot of people are either one extreme or the other. They're all like either
and
like.
It's weird because like we all know we all do it. So it's more just the way that you were.
Unless you're married and then you never do it. Am I right, guy? Oh, there's no guys here.
It's something that we just, it's a human behavior. We all do it. We all participate in it. So I don't like, it really just comes down to like how you perceive it.
Comfortable you are.
Yeah.
How comfortable you are and how comfortable and how much you care what people think.
Right.
Is a thing because I think
it's also a little bit about like just the views on sex that stem from like religious backgrounds that most of us carry with us. I think it has a part to play.
I mean, let me tell you, in my house, like my mom was not a normal mom in the sense that like she encouraged me to get pregnant the second I was in a serious relationship. And like actively was like, who cares? Just get pregnant. I'm like, no.
Wait, so but just so that the listener knows this part of the story, you weren't 18 or not, like you were like you were
like an adult.
You were an adult,
right? But how many parents would?
No. I'm not defending that. I'm not defending. I'm just saying to the listeners, just to clarify, it's not like you were 17 or 18. It wasn't your first serious relationship. It was just. Later on.
I was in my late 20s, but still, it was like an active thing. It's like, oh, getting married and then having kids, that's like so out of date. Like and I was like, yeah, but you know, no, like, and so I think that I think I'm agreeing with you, Steph. It depends on where, but even it could go either way because she was like that and she was very open with, you know, supportive of my hoedom, if you will, and I just never engaged because I just don't care. Like I did, that's not something that appealed to me
right
at the time. So yeah, it just depends because there are people that get raised very strict and very like esto no se hace, and then that's how they carry on. And then there's people that like the second that they get out of the house, they're like.
I had like a weird upbringing because like before I turned 18, it was very much like an eso no se hace situation. But then like once I got into college, not practicum. It was a very different scenario. I had like a year where my mom was like cool. And
was it when you were in España that summer?
That's why her mom was so cool. That's why her mom was so cool. Her mom heard about the 2 bar fights that she never got into that she said she did.
It was before that.
And then her mom was like, "What? My girl could throw hands. Fuck that.
I would just
do whatever you want to do."
For the record, that I did not bring it up. You assholes did.
I know, but we bring it up because we don't believe you. So we think it's funny. That's why we're bringing it up. So she was like, "What? My daughter throws these hands, yo." She's like, "Oh shit."
Fuck you.
She could beat some bitch in Spain. I'm not gonna tell her not to fuck. Go ahead, fuck, daughter, fuck.
Anyway, speaking of gays in the White House, it's really depressing that we could have had the gays in the White House and the Rose Garden could have been so improved upon, but instead we had what we got, which is really sad.
That Rose Garden is super depressing. Especially the before and after.
Yeah.
It's like play the New Moon soundtrack while you're looking at those pictures because holy fuck.
Chasten Buttigieg, who's Pete Buttigieg's husband, he tweeted, he's like, and to think we could have had gays in the White House with like the picture of the Rose Garden.
It's really sad.
Is it like all gold colored roses now?
No, bro.
No.
They took out trees that the Kennedy administration
that Jackie Kennedy had planted,
and they ripped them out. And then what they did was super creative.
Did the tree branch go back into the left?
Well, so the Rose Garden was a Kennedy administration thing because JFK wanted somewhere to like deliver addresses to the nation that wasn't just like in a room. They wanted somewhere like nice and environmental. So that's where the design of the Rose Garden comes from. But one thing that actually David noticed about the Rose Garden is that they took out all the color. And like the Rose Garden used to be very colorful. It used to be like full of like red and pink, like really pretty flowers and trees and cherry blossoms and shit. And now it's all white and like light blush colors and stuff.
Yeah, I bet you Putin's the one that designed it.
I'm sure.
No color.
Well, that's why I thought it would be.
No, that queen would have done it super extra.
That's why.
I don't know that are Russians famous for gardening? Is that something?
No, I'm calling Putin gay.
Oh,
and
well, he does like to ride horseback shirtless.
Yeah.
You ever seen those pictures of Putin riding horseback?
Call me a stereotyper, but if that's not a queen, then I don't know what is.
Also, he fucks Trump, so that's a thing.
That too.
For sure. He's not a bottom. Hell no.
He is not a power bottom.
Oh my god, it's so weird. I don't know. So there's we are recording to the listener. We are recording the second night of the Republican National Convention, and so that's why cocaine was trending today, because last night, which was the first night of the Republican National Convention, Donald Trump Jr.'s girlfriend, I think her teleprompter was just in all caps. I think it was just all caps. She came in like Matt Damon. She came in like Matt Damon in the SNL skit where he was playing Kavanaugh.
Brett Kavanaugh.
Where he was like, I'm coming in at 10 and gonna kick it up a notch in a minute. Like,
do you guys remember Howard Dean?
Yes.
From the 2004 election?
I've talked about this recently. Like, that was a thing where
he was the front runner in that
He was the front runner, and he immediately like lost all points because when he won, I think it was Kentucky that he won. I forgot what state that he won the primary.
I don't know if it was at a primary or if it was just at a rally.
It was at a primary. It was at a primary. He won a primary, and I'm pretty sure. I think it was North Carolina. Now that I think about it, but the dude wins. And this is to the listener more than anybody else. It's like the dude wins the primary, and in celebration he goes, "Yeehaw!" Like that's what he did, and he did a fist pump and yeehaw! He did that shit, and that's it. It was over. He was a laughing stock.
Political career.
He was a fucking laughing stock. Everybody started laughing, started making fun. There weren't no memes back then, but it was like on all the late shows and all the thing. And he was it. It was like the early 2000s versions of a meme. Like he was everywhere. Just that one clip. Yeehaw! It ended his political career. And to think, a short 15, 16 years later, this dude, the shit that he has said, that you would think there's no way he's gonna survive this scandal. This is a crazy scandal. What? Grab him by the pussy? What? Fucking a porn star while your wife is pregnant? What? Like fucking I could kill somebody in fucking in Wall Street in the middle of the street and nobody would and I want to be convicted. Like that's crazy. Like you would not be able to say, like yeehaw. Do you understand how yeehaw got a man his entire life changed because of fucking yeehaw? Like I'm like it's bananas to me. I've talked about this plenty of times before in the past with my friends. I was like, I don't understand.
I agree with you. Yeah, and yet here's Kimberly Guilfoyle, like basically being Ursula the Sea Witch.
She's a deranged Evita. That's what she looks like when she's doing this.
Oh my God, the fucking hand movements, dude. The fucking hand movements.
So now there's a Guilfoyle challenge on Instagram or in TikTok where people are just like standing there with their arms open and just screaming into the wind, like just into a void.
I'm not doing that. I gotta wear a different shirt for that. But yeah, I would do that.
I was just like, what? So on top of the fact, like aside from the like, she's just like screaming. That kind of thing doesn't hit as hard when you're doing it to an empty room, because at least if there was like an audience and they're able to like egg you on, like I could get feeding off that energy, but it's like
Do you know what the WWE is doing with their crowd?
Well, that's what I was saying before. That's what I was thinking before, and I wasn't gonna say that. Like, I've talked to Missy.
What?
Missy has asked me, like, when the whole Corona thing first started. Missy is one of the. There's been a few, but one of the people that have been like, "Hey, why don't you do a viral show? Why don't you do a virtual show?" And I would tell her, because there's no fucking energy, there's no feedback.
Yeah.
And as a comedian, you need that fucking laughter. You want to hear that, this is what you need. And I've thought about doing it because I've been, financially, we've been really hit up really hard. This has really hit us because I've been out of work for so long. And I've thought about doing it multiple times, and then at one point I was gonna do it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna announce it that I'm gonna do it, whatever, blah blah blah, like, and take fucking Cash App donations, all this bullshit. Like, I had this whole thing planned out of my head, and then WrestleMania came about, and these insanely super athletic men and women who are ripped to shreds in phenomenal shape would come out in an empty fucking room where it's just them two, or just the people wrestling, the camera crews, and the announcers. So you're literally looking at maybe 8 people tops total, all of which work for the company. And these super athletes came out, and they had the pyrotechnics. Their intros were still the same. It was still like, oh, look at me, I'm fucking, and now entering at 250 pounds, so-and-so, fulano tal, The Rock, whatever the fuck you want to say. But there's no, like, you hear the empty room. And I told Missy, and I was like, look, bro, these guys look like fucking complete idiots. Like, I'm here watching, as a fan, I'm watching this show of super athletes, amazing good looking people looking like fucking idiots. I'm gonna look like a douchebag. I'm like, I'm not doing it. And I didn't. I haven't done it just because of that. I'm like, I don't feel like looking like an asshole in an empty fucking room. Like, how do you
So that is all true. And the reason why it was so cringy is, when I told Mary, was that because the whole bit with professional wrestling is that it's like testosterone levels, but like on a caricature level. Like, it's supposed to be outrageous and just ridiculous. Like, that's, nobody goes there for subtlety. So when they're doing that to an empty arena, cringy. I can't watch. I can't do it. I can't do it because it's too cringy. It doesn't work the same.
Doesn't.
But what I was gonna say is that now, moving into the later parts of the pandemic, what the WWE is doing is that they have, so for their televised events, the seats that would typically be facing the cameras that are going to show, the action, and you're going to end up being on TV, they've replaced it with monitors where people have caught the audience is like zoomed in.
Oh, isn't the NBA doing that?
But then instead of you hearing the actual crowd reaction of these zoomed in fans, they just have like stock audience, like white noise in the background.
We were talking about it.
Wait, and yesterday, Jeffrey sent me this. Jeff sent me 2 different pictures. He sent me one picture of somebody who put a picture of a wrestler who killed himself after he killed his wife, Chris Benoit.
Chris Benoit.
Oh, I remember
and
that.
then a second picture of
a Klans member in robe. He was in his robe. He was in his robe, and you see him.
I mean, how else would you know he was a Klan member?
Because he didn't have a hood on. He did not have a hood on, but he did have his robe.
But to that I say, if the WWE can make that kind of effort for their performances, the RNC has money for this shit, is what I'm trying to say.
Ironically, that guy in a Klan's outfit would be pulling double duty because he would also be the guy.
Yeah, I would you could probably just lift that whole wrestling audience and put them into the RNC, and it would be just the same.
Some of us are not that.
No,
we were having a conversation.
But
we were talking about it at work this morning about the speech, and somebody was like, "Do you think that she had like the ear monitor in, and they were just like playing crowd sounds to like get her hyped up, and that's why they were blasting loud music so she couldn't hear herself, and that's what she was
Leonard Skinner."
I was hoping.
Freebird, and she's just going crazy.
She's like just screaming over the Freebird guitar solo.
I'm telling you, I'm hoping like that's because that would be the only logical, like either she has a prompter on all caps or she has fucking the Rocky theme song just jamming in her ear and she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this shit. Let's do like so fucking this shit right here.
A deranged Evita.
When she's like getting to the end and she's like, and the best is yet to come, and she's like really hyping it up, and then you hear like fucking dead cricket silence.
Yeah, that was WrestleMania.
It's like that's not how this works.
Yeah.
You literally do not need to. There's nobody in front of you. Like you do not. Do you think that maybe they had a virtual background that she was looking at where she saw a crowd?
It would be stupid of them. It's not in the brand of the RNC to shy away from people paying attention to them. So I think they would have panned, like they would have had a camera behind her showing the crowd, but they couldn't even put like stock audio. Like I could buy that shit for like online right now. Like they could have done not that I'm not trying to help them or anything. I'm just saying, like, just to make it a little less.
There's like minimal effort involved in making this a little bit. So I have a theory about her. So you know that she used to be married to Gavin Newsom, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is, but you kept saying that in the chat, so I just went with it.
Gavin Newsom is the current governor of California.
Okay.
Who has gained a lot of notoriety recently because he's liberal and he's very Cuomo type in the sense that like he shut down the state and he was kind of
in his ex-wife lost her fucking mind.
Right. Well, their marriage.
Could you imagine the sympathy sex he's getting right now?
Well, hold on, because their marriage ended because he cheated on her. So.
Damn it.
Yeah, no. So I have a theory that she's aligning herself with the Republicans and she's dating Don Jr. as like her version of getting back at him, like her revenge is to just become.
You couldn't pay me to be that petty.
The revenge fuck?
If that is the case, then she is the queen of petty, and I respect a petty bitch.
There's $0 amount.
I respect that level of petty.
No,
that's revenge fuck to the umpteenth level. Like you can't.
Yeah,
Mary, would you do it?
Yeah.
I think I'm that petty.
But here's the thing though. Here's the thing. First of all, like it's like what's the female equivalent? Like what's like would I fuck Ivanka for a revenge fuck? Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, Kelly Conway.
No, but Kelly Conway's like 1,000 years old. Kellyanne Conway's 1,000 years old. Don Jr. is physically. Hold on. Don Jr. physically is not disgusting, dude. He's not a bad-looking guy, and he's not 1,000 years old. So
he's just like gross on the inside.
Yeah.
So like that he's a garbage human, but like he's not a bad look. You're right. It's not Eric. Eric is fucking horrid.
I don't think that guy's horrid either. He's just not the better looking one, of course, but he's not.
Bro, Eric
horrid.
looks just like his dad, and not in a good way.
Well, you can't say that about that dad and mean it in a good way.
Well, that's true, but Eric looks just like his dad.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
See, like at least Don Jr. is like somewhat like if he had a lobotomy, like maybe he could be somewhat salvageable. But Eric is a lost cause.
Yeah, I would totally do that revenge.
This isn't like a choose your player thing. We have to choose for you. Kellyanne Conway, yes or no?
But that no.
No, but it has to be someone at least decent, though.
She's 1,000 years old, guys. She's 1,000 years old.
Do you want to talk about Kellyanne Conway and her drama?
She retired, right? Or she quit, or whatever the fuck.
She's leaving the White House. You know why?
Well, she says
she's 53.
To stay fat.
That's not that old.
But she looks 1,000.
She does. She does not look well.
Because J-Lo's 52.
51.
Yeah, so I mean.
Yeah, but that's a really outrageous benchmark to put on 50.
Yeah, she's like the only 51-year-old that looks like.
No,
that.
Halle Berry's also.
Okay, but you're talking about people that are like rich.
Kellyanne Conway is not a poor person. Kellyanne Conway, she is not broke.
Yeah.
She's not going through your unemployment website going like, this shit is still not working, huh? She's not doing that shit. She's fine.
Fair point.
You're in queue to be talked to in 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Kellyanne Conway, gotta go. So she quit, and her husband.
She quit, and her husband.
Her husband, who has been super vocal about hating the guy in office. I don't even like saying.
Well, he's one of the founders of the Lincoln Project, and the Lincoln Project is the Never Trumper Republicans. So they are Republicans that are fiscally conservative and whatever, that do not agree with.
Yeah, they're just called regular. They're called like actual Republicans, as opposed to fucking sheep.
Decent human beings.
Yeah, just actual Republicans that are not sheep and fucking all of a sudden flip flop into believing like fucking Ted Cruz. All of a sudden, Anyways, yes, regular Republicans, regular human beings that are not dipshits. So he quit too, right?
Yeah.
So he quit, and what was the reason he gave to quit? The same reason?
So
to be
he
with
gave
family?
the same reason they have to focus on their family. But if you don't know who Claudia Conway is,
her daughter,
their daughter, who is a rising star on TikTok, who frequently just like outs how toxic they are as parents and how like verbally and emotionally abusive they are, and she's also very on the left, very opposite of them. She tweeted like last week, I want to say, that she was like, my dad is still full of shit, so stop standing him.
Stop standing him?
Yeah.
I don't know what standing.
You don't know what it means to stand somebody?
No, I'm a boomer, apparently. And
you are a little bit of a boomer.
I don't.
Missy, would you like to define standing?
I mean, in context, I would assume it means that you're standing up for the guy. In context, that's what.
That you're supportive of,
or you're vouching for the guy, right?
Right, you're supportive of whatever, you appreciate this person, or yeah.
Again, I got it from context, but I was like, that's a weird fucking way to say this.
According to Urban Dictionary, which obviously that's where you get all your knowledge information, stan means wait, where is it? Oh, you know what it's based off of? Eminem's song "Stan." Look at that. You remember?
That I did not know.
Wait, so it's Stan, not Stand?
Stan.
No.
S-T-A-N.
S-T-A-N.
So that's like to be a fan of, right? I'm assuming?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Oh, okay. Because I thought it was stand, like standing up for the guy, vouching for the guy.
No.
It's Stan.
No, Stan. No.
Oh, okay. But that's like the moment she mentioned Eminem, I'm like, no, I know that. That's part of my generation. That was the music that I grew up with. I can't wait for another 30 years to come by where Eminem is played on the oldie station. I can't fucking wait. I mean, it's gonna be fantastic. Where it's gonna be like
a sad fucking day.
Dude, it's already sad that like Blink 182 is played on 105.9, and like Nirvana, I want to put my head through a wall.
It's funny because people get mad at the station. They've like at least like 2 years ago when I was still going into the station, and they started playing Blink 182 and they started playing these people, like listeners. Like that, they were like, "This is not classic rock," and da da da, and they're like, all the stuff.
It's been out for more than 20 years.
And that's what Paul would have. Like he would reply to these tweets. He's like, "We can't just keep playing fucking Leonard Skinner and the Beatles. It doesn't fucking work that way. It's like things evolve, music evolves and changes, and this is now oldies. Blink 182 is now an oldie shit." And I remember. I don't remember if it was Blink 182, but I think it was Linkin Park or some shit. And I was like, that sounds about right, though. I mean, right on par. But in another 30 years, when you hear Wet Ass Pussy, oh, that's going to be amazing, dog. It's going to be a WAP.
That's a nice transition as we are living in a post-WAP world.
Well, I know, but the transition kind of takes a back seat when you point out how great the transition was. Because I just left it at the transition. But WAP is getting a bad rap.
I can't deal with it because.
What do you mean? You don't like the song?
I know. I love the song. I listen to it at least twice a day.
I haven't heard the song yet.
Oh.
Swear to God, I haven't heard the song yet. I've only heard the 9 seconds that's played on Face Swap, that face lift app, whatever the shit that puts your face in different. And I've only heard the 9 seconds. And I haven't heard the song yet. I'm like, I don't fucking
I
need to go listen
to it on the radio because I actually heard it on Power 96 the other day, and like half the second verse is silent because
even though the video is awesome, it's also like the clean version of the song. So
because if you look for the official one, but you look for the explicit version of the video, it's out there.
But
apparently I read
the clean version is wet and
gushy.
Wet and gushy, which I
think is worse.
That sounds. Look, I did a show like 3 weeks ago. It was outside. It was at Sunset Place, and it was outside. And because it was outside, I had to be PG-13. Like they were like, "Hey, you got to keep it PG-13." I'm like, "All right, fine." And I have no problems. I've done clean shows every day of my life for the last 5 years, every week of my life for the last 5 years. So I got to it, and I started doing. In the beginning, I was just talking, and I told the audience, I'm one of those people where I'm like, there's an elephant in the room. Let's fucking talk about the elephant in the room. I'm like, this is going to be dumb for me to pretend like everything's normal. So I talk about the pandemic, and I talk about this as a PG-13 show. Like I can't be as dirty as I want to be. I can't be that. And they said, oh, just say vagina. And then I had to go into this whole thing about how sometimes a scientific word is dirtier than it's dirtier than like the lingo and like it's just. And I gave the example. I go, look, we could all admit, like if I said like finger blasting, right? Like I go, I finger blasted a chick, and I was like, yes, is it graphic? Okay, fine, it's graphic, but it's not like, oh my God, it's not the end of the world. You just go, okay, finger blasting, whatever. I go, but if I go up to you and I tell you, hey man, I phalange the girl, you'd be like, what the excuse me, sir?
I've never heard it referred to as phalange to somebody.
Well, because the scientific name for fingers is phalanges.
Right, it's phalanges, yeah.
So you can't, like, so that's literally the thing. So you, I phalange the hell out of this chick. Like, bro, hey, take it easy, bro. What's wrong with you? So I made this whole thing up on the spot about how phalanging, and then I made it like, I did a callback like 5 minutes later, and I go, you know what, from now on, whenever I want to say the F word, I'm just going to say phalange. And it's not, I'm just saying, we all know what the phalange that means. And it just took off, and like my whole set was riddled with phalange this, phalange that. And then every time I wanted to say fuck, because I couldn't, I said phalange, and it worked. If phalange worked. And I think so going back to gushy, that sounds worse than pussy. It just sounds worse.
I kind of agree with you.
And by worse, I mean better.
So do you not know any of the lyrics to WAP?
I know wet ass pussy, and I know the mop and bucket because this douchebag tweeted that his wife doesn't get wet. That guy, I forgot who the guy was. Who's that guy?
Oh, I can't remember his name now.
He's like a right-wing conservative. He's super young.
No, I know exactly who he is.
You shared a story on the chat. I read that story.
I did. I'm spacing on the guy's name right now. So you haven't like experienced the lyrical prose?
I haven't. But here's the thing.
May I give you a sampling?
Sure. And here's the thing. Before you get to that, again, because I'm old and I am from a generation of put it in your mouth and my neck, my back, my pussy and my crack. You're like all these songs that when I fucking pop that pussy, like, bro, I was jamming to that song. I mean, granted, I was 10 years old. I wasn't supposed to be jamming to that song, but I had older brothers.
No,
and
but we were.
I was jamming to pop that pussy, like so. Again, like none of this. So when the song came out, I first heard about the song because of the controversy of it. And I was like, what's the controversy? Oh, it stands for wet ass pussy. And I'm like, and I just literally just gave it the stripper waiver. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I was like, did we forget about
I'm a grown
Trina
ass.
and Lil Kim and
Foxy Brown, like
Foxy Brown and everybody else that like came before, whatever.
I mean, I congratulate Cardi because this is a huge hit. And I know it's a huge hit because people keep talking about it, keep posting about it. But I'm just like, congratulations.
That's what I'm saying, like, they're laughing all the way to the bank because it's already gone gold and it'll probably go platinum pretty soon. So
yeah, like I'm not anti them. I'm not anti them. I'm anti the critics. I just give the stripper wave to the critics. You're like, can you believe? It's like It's 2020, dude. Are we still on this shit now? Like, didn't miss it. You sent me a TikTok where there were some kids talking about WAP is a bad. You talking about that? He's like, how about you worry about pandemic? How about that for WAP? Yeah. Worry about pandemic. And I was like, fucking clap it up. Fuck.
I read a tweet that was like, this girl told her mom that WAP stands for wine and pizza, and now her mom has like on her Facebook bio like WAP every day.
So give me the sampling. I want to know the lyrical.
Okay, I'm going to give you my favorite line.
Okay.
Because first of all, the song is very tongue-in-cheek. It's very funny. Part of what I really like about Cardi's vibe to begin with is that she's in on the joke. She always has been.
I don't think this song is a joke. I think she was trying to give her like it's not funny. It's like
it's not funny. It is, but there are really fun. There's funny parts of the song, and I think it's done cleverly. Like it's whatever. So. This is my favorite part of the song. So, I don't want to spit. I want to gulp. I want to gag. I want to choke. I want you to touch that little dangly thing that swings in the back of my throat. My head game is fire. Punani Dasani. It's going out dry and it's coming out soggy. I write on that thing like the cops is behind me. I spit on his mic as he's trying to sign me.
It's poetry, bro.
Like, you know, you're talking to the guy who had Put It In Your Mouth as one of his favorite love songs from the 90s. That was literally in my episode of Mount Geekmore of 90s love songs.
Yeah.
That was my number 3 was Put It In Your Mouth. No matter how many times Missy tried to fucking deter me from having that song because and to the listener, if you didn't listen to that episode, go back and listen to the Mount Geekmore episode where we did early 90s love songs, and we did love songs that were not breakup songs. That was the only caveat. Right. You couldn't be a breakup song. It had to be an actual love song, not a breakup song. And every song that I had on my list was all breakup songs, but they were disguised as love songs until you start reading the lyrics. And I go, oh, fuck. So literally on the air, as we're recording, I'm like, what about this one? And they're like, no, that's also a breakup song. I'm like, son of a bitch. I think
you said something like, I will always love you. I'm like, they're breaking up.
I think I would always love you. And then after that, I did the Tony Rich project. And then I was like, oh fuck, these are all breakup songs. These are all breakup songs.
You were just missing, I think you just missed like one Babyface song and you would have had like a mountain
of breakup songs. And then, so I said, fuck it, I'll go with Put It In Your Mouth. And Missy was arguing with me. Missy was like, that's not a love song. And there was two other,
Was it really?
There were two, yeah. You were like, no, you can't pick. And then I literally, when I picked it, when I said, fuck it, I'm going with this, you said into the mic, Missy said, I tried, guys. I can't. You were like, I tried. I can't do it. But it was the funniest thing. And I got to be honest with you. I still have Jamia's wife listen to that. We recorded that episode like probably 2 years ago. And Jamia's wife listened to that episode. I'm not lying to you. About a month and a half ago, she was texting my wife and she was like, oh my God, I'm listening to this episode in the car. And her daughter heard her. Her daughter heard. And she goes, what do they mean? Put it in your mouth. And she said, goldfish crackers. And like, oh, I want goldfish crackers in my mouth. Like, that was the conversation that was had by somebody a month and a half ago, which was like a year and a half after we recorded the episode. That was fucking great.
So what I was going to say is that for those of you intrigued by this shit show, it's Geekmore 99.
Mount Geekmore 99.
And it was and it was actually 2019. So last year.
What month? What month?
February 27th. Yeah. I think we did it in honor of Valentine's Day.
We did it in honor of Valentine's Day, and it was a year and a half ago. I wasn't wrong. We did it a year and a half ago.
No. Yeah, I know. I wanted to make sure that for the handful of people that are interested in hearing this show.
I love that episode.
It's number 99. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I always have fun on doing the mountains, but
I do too.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we can't, like, now listening to this, I gotta be honest with you, that's fucking poetry. I mean, it goes in, goes in dry, comes out, what, Dasani? What the fuck? That's fucking, I mean, that's...
Punani Dasani.
Oh, I mean...
Because you want to know why. It's just, I think it's just the thing where you can't fuck up. Like, you can't fuck up. You can't step out of line. And so honestly, like, out of all the things that could piss off, like, you know, the conservatives, I think WAP is just not in your top 10 of that.
Can I just be honest with you?
Leave it to them to always leave it to them to always bring that shit up because, they are the family values party. So they have to, take a stand on that.
But you know what's funny? They haven't talked. I swear to God, I mean, I don't know if this is credit or what, but I haven't heard an actual Republican as far as a politician. Let me rephrase that. I haven't heard a Republican politician.
There was one.
In 3.5 years.
House candidate James Bradley went on a whole rant about WAP.
No. Wait. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying I haven't heard a single Republican a politician scream about family values in 3.5 years, which is, I don't know why 3.5 years. Like, why is that? Did something happen 3.5 years ago where they can no longer talk about family values? That's weird. But here's what made me laugh. I have a personal friend of mine that I went to high school with. Right, she's a super nice girl, super nice lady. She has 2 kids that I've never met, but I've seen them on Instagram. They're beautiful kids and blah blah blah. And she had her kids on this. With this banner of like this douchebag 2020, and she says, "I'm voting for this guy to protect family values." Like, she put that on her Instagram, and I was like, I don't even know.
Oh, you mean the guy that's been married 3 times and has 3 different baby mamas?
That's what I'm saying. I'm
Four
like,
baby mamas?
I'm like, I don't know what.
The guy who got impeached, and Marco Rubio said just because somebody gets impeached doesn't mean they should be put out of office. And I think I remember around 96, 97, there was some incident with an intern giving a blowjob to the president of the country.
Consensually.
And they wanted to get him fired, but I mean, but all the shit that like they actually had.
I just think it's funny. So can I just go back to this thing? So what I think is funny about the Dasani water line.
Ben
Shapiro, that's a douche's name. So what I think is funny about the Dasani water, that line is immediately, it made me think. I just hearing it right now for the first time. You say it, Stephanie, and it immediately made me think of that dude from the Fire Festival where he was like, "We need you to get the water."
Oh my God, that Evian water, Andy King.
We need you to get the water. Like, what would you do for this water?
Well, you stuck his dick to get the water out of customs.
And he said,
he said he would. And he went and he got my mouthwash.
He said, let me get my chapstick. I'm like, damn, bro. What a fucking professional, bro. What a take one. I mean, that's not really taking one for the team. That's like saying, hey, would you fuck it?
That is the definition of taking one for the team.
Is it? Look, if it's a straight guy, and you're asking a straight guy, would you suck a dick to get the bot? Like, that's taking one for the team. But asking a gay guy to suck a dick, that's like asking me, hey, would you fuck this chick to get fucking millions of dollars? Like, all right,
not every gay guy wants to suck every.
I'm not saying you want to. I'm saying the fact that you're willing to is not exactly taking one for the team. Ask me right now if I'd fuck Kellyanne Conway for $1 million. I'd be like, oh, okay, fine. Like, I'm not. Again, that's not really taking one for the team. That's just fucking a chick I don't want to fuck for $1 million. That's not really exactly taking one for the team. Is all I'm saying. I'm never did I mean to imply that every gay guy wants to suck every guy's dick. That's not what I'm meaning.
Well,
I'm saying it's not a stretch. I would just like
to know that in the food chain, I'm the one that eats you. If he ate my ass, he's a bottom feeder. Additionally,
am I a bottom?
You can't. She goes additionally. That's not part of the song, by the way.
That's not part of the song.
Oh man, I for sure thought that she said additionally, like. No! And then she ends it with furthermore, and then she's
furthermore.
Furthermore.
You can't hurt my feelings, but I like pain. If you fuck me and ask who is it, when I ride my dick, I'ma spell my name.
Well, I'll turn on. So it worked. That shit worked. I mean, good for her, man. I think it's poetry.
I'm here for it. I love the song. I've listened to it several times a day since it came out.
Since it's not on the Hamilton soundtrack, I have not heard it recently, so I don't understand.
Maybe you should move on with your life.
No, he's in 2015. Leave him alone. He's going through the journey.
I don't think it's 2015.
Well, the election's right around the corner, so
I don't understand how Missy keeps saying, "Oh, that's from 2015." We're like, yeah, but the movie just came out a month ago, so I'm not really that late. I'm with the movie. It's not my fault the movie came out 5 years after the play debuted.
But the soundtrack has been out for 5 years.
Sure.
That's
But the movie just came out, so it's like saying the book Lord of the Rings.
Well,
It's
you
like saying,
weren't interested in it before the movie.
Hold on. Exactly my point. Hold on, because of the movie. That's like saying the book Lord of the Rings has been out for hundreds of years. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about a book.
It had out for hundreds of years, but for a good amount of time.
Yeah, like it's been out for 90 years. Like say the Lord of the Rings books has been out for 90 years. I'm giving a number. I don't know how long exactly. And my response would be like, yeah, but who gives a fuck about Lord of the Rings until the movie came out? Like, I'm not fucking reading the book. Like, you can't look at the people.
No, people cared about that book.
I understand people cared. I understand people cared about the book. I'm saying when the movie came out and you see a dude with a Lord of the Rings T-shirt on, you can't be like, "Oh, dude, go on, get with it. That was 90 years ago." Like, no, bitch, the fucking movie just came out. Like, how am I? Like, you can't judge somebody's fandom because a movie just came out just because the source material was out longer. It's all I'm saying.
Nobody is judging your fandom.
Yes.
Okay?
First of all, you, my wife, yeah, no, that's it. That's the list. But that's it. That's enough people in my life to judge
I definitely have not judged you at 1 second of
you
my life.
literally just said
Lord of
it's
the
been
Rings
five.
came
It's been
out
off
66 years
yeah.
ago.
You literally just told me, Missy, it's been out. Neri's on a 5-year kick. He's still listening to shit that came out 5 years ago. That's judging.
Because that wasn't judging, bro. You're so sensitive about this shit. It's like what I've been trying to say for the past 12 minutes is that where you just watched the movie and became a fan now because of the movie. For those people that have been like salivating at the mouth over the musical, it's been 5 years. That's all I'm fucking trying to say. So it's nothing about like you're lesser than. You're lesser.
I never thought you said that. I never thought you felt that way. That I'm lesser than. I'm just saying that you,
the immigrants, they get the job done, sir.
They do. They legitimately do. And so I made that my ringtone. I made that song my ringtone. The fucking Yorktown.
It sounds good. The other day he said, "Call me." I'm like, "What the fuck for?"
Do you know that he called me? Do you know that he called me like 2 weeks ago, last week or 2 weeks ago? And I almost didn't pick up the phone because who the fuck calls anybody anymore?
The same people that I have you on my speed dial. I have you on my speed dial.
He's like, "Is it weird that I'm calling you?" He asked me, he goes, "Is it weird that I'm calling you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because if it's not work related, I literally don't speak to anybody on the phone." He had me on the phone for like 25 minutes, and it was the longest conversation I had with somebody. First of all, she said the phrase
he had me on the phone like if I had you captive, like if I kidnapped you, like he had me on the phone for 20 minutes. It's like, you mean we had a 20-minute long conversation? Like it was consensual. Yeah. I wasn't holding you against your will. You made it seem as if like he fucking had me pinned down to the floor and would not shut the fuck up, and I had to respond.
It was the longest non-work related conversation I've had in years.
That's usually what they say about me. He could go on forever.
That's not what I said, but
so I wanted to bring something up because I wasn't allowed to talk about it because Neri told me to keep my mouth shut until we recorded.
Don't we have an outline?
It's a list. But I wanted to bring up something because I haven't.
But is it on the outline?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Okay, so recently I made the comment to Neri that I'm not standing, or I'm not a quite as big an Ellen DeGeneres fan like I was recently.
Your words exactly were, "I'm no longer a fan," and I was like,
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, when I said that, he's like, "Don't say shit to record," because he wanted to get it on a podcast. So for those that don't know what's happening,
wait, for those who didn't know, Missy was a die-hard rider. Her dream board, multiple years. Vision board. I'm sorry. Thank you, Stephanie. Her vision board, multiple years, were to be on the Ellen DeGeneres show. Like that was
while Melissa McCarthy was a guest.
While Melissa McCarthy was a guest.
Well,
and then Melissa McCarthy would offer her a job.
So now.
Well, thank you for speaking for me. I love when that happens.
You're welcome. So,
I was just giving a backstory to how much of a fan you were. That's what I'm doing.
I was trying to do it myself, but thank you. I appreciate the commentary. So Ellen has taken a couple of bumps this summer, and
putting it mildly.
And for me personally, because the big controversy came a couple of months ago through BuzzFeed, but for me, I literally stopped recording her stuff, unfollowed her on social media. I stopped paying attention to whatever the fuck was going on with her because when the pandemic hit and she started doing the show from her house because of all the restrictions and, Hollywood basically shut down. Her staff that wasn't her people that were personal close friends of her, they ended up going weeks on end without getting paid because the studio wasn't going to pay them if they weren't working. And I'm summarizing the shit out of the story, but that's essentially what happened. And she didn't do shit about it. And that really was the thing for me that I was like, no, I can't support that because so Trevor Noah was in the same situation where he started recording from his house. He paid his staff. He doesn't have Ellen DeGeneres
out of pocket.
I think Jimmy Kimmel did the same thing. Multiple people have done that. And in my brain, in my fandom brain, and I write hard for people that I admire. It just doesn't happen that I don't become I unfan somebody that I really like. But for me, it's if you have Ellen DeGeneres money and you're constantly choosing to leave these people out of work and you're fucking with their livelihood when you can step in and help and all of that shit's going to be tax deductible anyway and your fucking brand and kindness and peace on earth and all this shit.
And giving.
You can't take care of your own house, then I don't give a fuck who you are. I can't respect that. So I stopped. That was back April, May. That I was I'm out. Then this summer, there was a BuzzFeed article that came out where a lot of her staff started coming forward anonymously, complaining about a toxic work environment. To such an extent that Warner Brothers conducted a workplace investigation. It's a super HR term, but it's true. And essentially they found that it was a toxic work environment, that there were 3 executive producers who made disparaging comments towards staff members, threatening them, all the shit anything that you could imagine in a toxic work environment.
That if you don't like working here, you could get the fuck out because there's plenty of people that would love to have this job, that would love to kill this job. That's the one comment that I was like, Jesus Christ, guys.
There's also an allegation where one of the executive producers who's gay would sexually harass the staff members. And so, the allegations were extensive. And they ended up getting, fired or whatever. Basically they got fired, but they worded it in a different way. And so
they parted ways. They parted ways.
Yeah, they parted ways. It always reminds me of remember when they told Ted to go to the floor and design something where people got fired and the transition well and all this shit. It's you're getting fired. That's what happened. So I can't, and it's not, I'm glad, honestly, I'm glad that for the sake of her show, because there was talk at some point when the workplace investigation was happening and the controversy was peaking, there was talk that she might get canceled. One of the things that pissed me off in watching this from a distance was that celebrities started coming forward to vouch for her, and it's you can't, your experience as a celebrity going to the Ellen DeGeneres show is not the same as some kid who just graduated and is working as an associate, as an associate producer. It's not the same experience. So no. Kevin Hart.
Well, even at Perry, that, there's a few celebrities that spoke out against her, saying that she is mean, and a lot of this started unraveling earlier this year, the slow trickle, the beginning of the end of this was that Dakota Johnson interview. Remember that?
Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast.
That was more of a PR hit than really. That was more, I think, in my opinion, an awkward situation. And if you're a fan of the show and you watch, sometimes it gets awkward, and she rolls with it. That was a particularly awkward situation. I don't understand why they didn't just cut that part of the interview out. They could have, but they didn't. So I don't know why they left it in there. But yeah, towards the peak of the controversy with the toxic work environment, where Warner Brothers Studios got involved and they did the whole process of that, which is in itself very like HR. That's 100% an HR thing. Like it's not, and that's one of the things that I was pissed about when the celebrities were like, she's great, like, and it's like she can be great, but this isn't a thing about her image. This is a workplace situation. This is people that are making regular, like, average salaries for California and have families, and this is their livelihood. That experience is not the same as you, Katy Perry, or you, Kevin Hart, going into the green room and having, visiting the show. It's completely different. So that shit pissed me off, but like that makes sense because Hollywood is going to vouch for Hollywood if you want to get, if you want to stay in Hollywood. So that made sense to me. But to me, I think that it's just
also it's got to be tough, man. If that's your friend. You know what I mean? Like your friends going through this shit. Like it's got to be tough that you don't like. I get what you're saying, and I'm totally with you. You know, they have a different experience. They're like they can't vouch for a workplace environment. They can't because they don't fucking work there. Kevin Hart going into the group. You're absolutely right. Like everything you said is like 1,010% correct. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of if you're my friend and you're going through some PR shit right now, like as a friend, you would back them up, right? You'd be like, oh, I love, Missy. You're like, yeah, but you don't work for Missy. You don't fucking know Missy's fucking, you don't know Missy's offices,
But think of it in terms of like when your friends fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely have been in situations where my friends do shitty things and I'm not, and I'm just speaking for myself, but I've been in situations where my friends do shitty things and I'm not the type of friend that's like, blindly supporting somebody just because they're my friend. I think, again, my opinion, part of being a good friend is calling people out on their shit. Like when you tell them, there's things that are clearly wrong and clearly right, and when you're doing something that's clearly wrong, But
again, we're talking about two different things here because Kevin Hart was talking about how nice Ellen was, which was not in question. The question was the workforce and the work environment at Ellen's place of business. It wasn't. Again, it's like two separate issues. Because,
but that's why.
That's as a friend, you gotta defend your friends and be like, wait, if your friend's getting attacked in the PR level, you gotta go like, oh, she's a nice person. And like, well, yeah, nobody's debating that, Kevin. Nobody's debating that she's a nice person. You're just.
But I would my thing, and I agree with you. I'm all about that. But I also think that like the way that you and me and Steph would handle a friend going through a hard time, like those quote unquote rules, they're not the same rules for celebrities.
No, they're not.
So if you're Kevin Hart or you're Katy Perry and you want to support your friend, you should support her. Absolutely. But why is it necessary to tweet and be public about it? Because the if your intention is to support your friend who's going through a hard time, then it's like people who take pictures of their food and like put it on Instagram and they're like, or like,
I just did that today.
I didn't see, but or like thirst traps where it's like, it's a clearly a thirst trap and the caption's like, new haircut. It's like, no, bitch, we know what you're doing. Shut the fuck up. So for me personally,
new haircut. It's just all I see is an ass in your picture. Why are you just showing me your ass if it's a new haircut?
So that's
those are my favorite.
What I'm saying is that was my gripe with that, and I hope that she can turn like those EPs left. She had a huge meeting with the 200 plus staff members of her show virtually last week, and where she talked to them one-on-one and expressed how sorry she was. She apparently had no idea about it.
Or she did a mass 200 phone
like
call.
Virtually, yeah, like a meeting, like a virtual meeting.
But it was all 200, or was it one person at a time? That'd be fucking crazy.
I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't think it was one person at a time, but I think it was like a mass number at a time. I'm not sure.
Right.
But But she addressed the staff directly. She apologized for their experience. She explained that because the other hit that came was that a lot of people, again, on Twitter were confirming that she's an awful person to deal with personally, on a personal level. And a lot of people were confirming that. So what she did was, and I kind of understand that because she says that she's an introvert. And a lot of times I think entertainers, because they're professionally entertaining you automatically think that they have the bandwidth to be available to people on that level, like 24/7.
At all times, right?
Correct. And a lot of times, it's like similar to a conversation I had with Mary a couple of weeks ago, where I was on Jim Carrey has a new book out, and he did like a virtual Zoom thing, and they asked him like, what is your favorite movie to watch? Like your comfort movie. What is your go-to favorite movie? And the person was like, mine is Ace Ventura. So I'm just curious what yours is. And he goes, The Godfather. And I was like, that's a really off the cuff answer for somebody who was a comedian, like known his entire career. Well, not his entire career, but most of his career is based off of comedy. So it's off-putting to say, and I guess I understand why it's hard for people to understand that an entertainer is an introvert, but it happens. And
a lot of times.
Sometimes that miscommunication comes off as cold-blooded, because that happens to me. I can be around my friends, but then I need to be like, leave me the fuck alone. And that's because be like, oh, she's going through something. No, it's just I need my time too. So I would. As much as I love being around my friends and I love the people that love me, I would say that I'm an introvert 100%. And that could come off bitchy, because I'm not going to come up to you and talk to you like if I don't have that thing, that chispa. So I get it, and I hope for not just for her, because she's really Ellen. Like if she were to lose the show or walk away from the show, it would be a hit. It would be sad. But she's going to be fine. I would hope for the sake of the people that are employed and like make regular salaries that this shit turns around for them, because this is a fucking job that, their livelihood. And so I'm hoping on that end that it turns around. But yeah, I can't. And all of that would have been hard to like watch as a fan, but she personally lost me when she was outright denying like food on the table to her staff. When you have fucking Ellen money. Like, I don't understand that. And I don't get how you could have that capacity to help somebody and you consciously choose not to. So that is a quick way to get me, like, to just not give a shit anymore.
Dude, she could have got Walmart to give fucking gift cards to her staff.
She's gone Walmart to pay
I know.
For dozens and dozens of college tuitions all 4 years.
She could have given like $500 gift cards to each, like $500 Walmart gift cards to each of her 200 employees.
She could have done 1,000 things. And the thing is that the way that it works in the Hollywood industry is that they're contracts. They're not employees. Like, I have a job and I know that I have a job until either I leave or they fire me. And that's my reality. But Hollywood doesn't work that way. 90% of Hollywood is contract. And it's year-to-year contract. It's like a season-to-season contract.
It's kind of like if you are an entertainer on, I don't know, like let's say a cruise ship, and then the entire cruise industry stops and halts. And even though you had contracts based upon the rest of the year, they were like, well, we're not really sailing anymore, so we're going to go ahead and stop paying you. I mean, I just imagine. I can't even imagine if something happened like that. I can't even imagine.
We should get somebody on the podcast that can share that experience.
I don't know who would we be able to find. That'd be crazy. All I'm saying is, pay me, Ellen. Give me some money, Ellen. Is all I'm saying. I'm fine. I would.
And the 3 EPs that were accused and found to be true, like the allegations true, they left or whatever, so she's replaced them. She made Twitch, who's like, for those of you that were fans of her, like he was her buddy, her sidekick, and now he's like an associate executive producer, which is good for him. Like that gives more, he's been in the front line, so that gives more validity. Yes, it gives more validity. And I think that just for the sake of the employees who are like regular people, that I hope that it turns around. But me personally, like running around Warner Brothers, like pissed that I can't sit in the show, that's over for me. Because you lose my respect in a second when you could feed somebody and you choose fucking not to. Like that, I don't understand that. So yeah,
Preach.
that's what you missed on Glee.
That
was on the list
last week on Glee. Yeah, she was very, very, very like. We're gonna talk about it right now. But yeah, so there's a lot of shit going on in the news. We're gonna try to keep be more active on the WuBro front. I know Geekmore hasn't really let up, but WuBro, we're gonna keep that more active. What was there? What else was there? There was
the burrito apple.
The what?
Burrito apple was from 2017 and for some reason went viral because that shit happened.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Romero Brito put out a statement like the next day and was like, "This happened in 2017."
Yeah, the burrito apple. That's right. That's what it was. That lady slamming the fucking.
We also,
which makes sense because there was a fucking massive line and nobody was wearing a mask, and I was like, "What the fuck, man?" Like can we all like? That video dropped and I was like, "Can we all talk about how nobody's wearing a fucking mask?"
Yeah.
I didn't know it was 2017. That makes way more sense.
2018. It was a couple years ago. We have not talked about the DNC. We talked a lot about the RNC. But I feel like we should talk about the DNC.
Well, the DNC is not really exciting because PolitiFact, is that what it is?
Kamala Harris being nominated as the vice president.
Is it PolitiFact? Is that the name?
Exciting to you?
Is that the name? No, I don't like her. PolitiFact, right? We're talking about Is that the name of the company? The name of the people that Political. Thank you.
Is a publication.
Thank you. Political put out a publication. This was the joke that I was getting to that I got cut off. DNC is not exciting because Politico released numbers after the first night of the Republican National Convention that they already had more. What is it they call it? They don't call it lies. They call it misinformation. There's already been more misinformation in the first night of the Republican National Convention than all 3 nights of the Democratic National Convention, which is the joke that I was getting to was the fact that DNC is not exciting because they just tell us, facts and they don't lie. So that's why.
We're due for some facts, though. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I think
I didn't watch anything. I didn't watch anything of the DNC. So I don't know.
Neither.
I watch both of. I don't watch them. I sat and watched the first night of the DNC, and then I just caught like the keynote speeches. I'm usually I watch the conventions, both sides. I always have, just because I like to be informed and I like to hear what happens. But
but it's a commercial. It's like a Super Bowl commercial that's 3 hours long. Yeah. Like I don't believe anything anybody's saying.
Yeah. But the keynote speeches are, I usually tune into the keynote speeches, and they were really good. Like, I know you're not a fan, but I like Kamala, and her speech was great. Joe Biden's speech was really good too. But what I did watch last night which was amazing, and I know like when we talking about C-SPAN is usually not amazing, but yesterday was the hearing of the Postmaster General, and
he got lit up, right?
Bro. He didn't get really lit up. The guy didn't get lit up, which, first of all, to me, he looks like Hank Schrader from Breaking Bad. So I can't take him seriously off that. I also feel like he probably looks like he should be coaching college football somewhere in Missouri, but that's a whole separate issue.
They all look like that.
Right. Stephen Lynch, who's a representative, Democrat representative from Boston, nailed into him. He spent like 6 minutes just ripping into him and basically told him that the reason that the only logical conclusion they can come to is for the post office being so fucked up is either it's gross incompetence and the guy has no idea what he's doing, or that he's doing it on purpose. And he straight up asked him, like on the congressional floor, like, what the heck is going on? Like, what is happening? And it got pretty heated. It was really good.
So
and
what was his?
Appreciated that because Congress is usually like really boring. So
what was his response to Postmaster General? Which it's so weird.
So he didn't really like respond to anything right out. Like a bunch of the representatives were asking him if he would be able to like produce documents to back up, this thing, or if he would be, if he could give them a timeline for when he could expect the mail sort of the 631 sorting machines back. And he told them that he wasn't putting them back, and they wanted him to produce these reports that he said that he had to check with his representation to see if he could produce that report. And like AOC told him, she was like, we're asking you to do this. You are federally, like, you are obligated by federal law to do this. And he just kept he didn't really like answer questions directly. Shocking.
So what was his reasoning for saying he's not putting the machines back?
He said no. He didn't. He just said no. We're not putting them back. He didn't he just said no. We're not.
They didn't say like, why aren't you gonna put them back? It's just like no.
He said we're not putting them back. Representative Presley asked him, and she straight up told her no. I was like,
Okay. I have a question.
Yeah.
You don't pay for cable. How did you get C-SPAN?
Because it's everywhere. It was on YouTube. The whole 5-hour hearing. The whole 5-hour hearing was on YouTube.
Yeah, I forgot about the internet.
The interwebs.
Yeah, how old are you, man? When you watch TV on TV? The fuck? Who does that?
You have cable?
Who does that?
I have cable.
She does.
You watch commercials?
Sounds crazy.
Oh my God, my kids started. They were in North Carolina for 2 weeks, and they came back asking me for all this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? They came back asking me for book bags and toys and all this shit because they're watching actual TV. Because my in-laws have actual cable. And they're watching actual TV with commercials, which I still think it's adorable and hilarious that my kids call commercials ads, because that's what they are. But we didn't know that word at fucking 5 years old. We didn't know the word ads. We just thought, that's a commercial. Like, we didn't know. So yeah, nobody. I'll go. I want to watch that dude get rip into this. Get ripped into.
Sent it to the chat last night.
I saw it
again.
I saw it this morning. I saw the link this morning, but I didn't click on it.
It's wonderful. And the guy, just so that you know, Representative Lynch, he was the former president of the Iron Workers Union from Boston. So he's a Boston guy. Like, when you think of like how a Boston guy talks and the attitude they carry themselves with, he's very much like that. But he had a vested interest in this. He's on the House Oversight Committee anyway, and that's who kind of.
The moment you said that, Stephanie, like, he's a Boston guy, I pictured a politician in a suit talking down to a guy on the floor, right? Because he's questioning him, and he's like, we need those machine backs. How you like them apples? Like, that's all I fucking pictured, right? Immediately, the moment you go, he's a Boston guy, I just pictured this dude doing equations at MIT. Like, huh? How you like them apples? Like, oh my God, take it easy, guy.
But his mother, his aunts, and his sisters are all postal workers. So he was like very much. He says it. He's like, I have a vested interest in this because you're literally affecting the lives of my family member.
Yeah. Also, you're affecting the election. But there's whatever. That second banana to my fucking aunt, mother, and sister.
Well, he goes through this thing about how, like, during the Civil War, the mail was still delivered on time. During World War II, when the men were overseas fighting, the mail was still delivered. During 9/11, like, he goes through all these like historical events where like it was always and this guy has only been Postmaster General since June, and so basically in 8 weeks, this guy has dismantled the post office.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, it's weird because this administration hasn't really been destructive or like out of their minds, insane, sociopathic. So I feel like this is an isolated incident, and they like fired him.
It's probably just a huge oversight.
I like the fact that
you cut off.
I like the fact that if anybody's listening to this episode for the first, like, if anybody's listening to this podcast for the first time, like, this is the first episode, like, they're like, man, they get into politics a lot. Like, no, we normally don't. It's what's happening in the world right now. It's what's happening. Like, this is
what. I can't help it. I feel like at this point,
it really is.
Listen, I studied this stuff in college, and not even when I was in college and I was like balls deep into political science have I ever been this like invested in politics.
It just, you know what it is? This is the equivalent of, this is when this dude was running, every comedian had that fucking hacky joke where they were like, I hope he does win, bro, because it's fucking free material. And every hacky comedian had that fucking joke. Like, I hope he does win because he's just gonna constantly, what's my new joke gonna be? Just open up the newspaper and boom, there's gonna be a new more material.
What's a newspaper?
And same thing that the speed dial is. So then I love the fact that this is what it's become now, where it's like, people that weren't, I wasn't political 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I wasn't political, and then I didn't give a fuck about politics. And it takes a fucking ass clown to get in office and totally fuck shit up and say things that are like totally inappropriate for a human being, much less a fucking politician, even less a fucking president, to say. You're like, what? This is not like, if a guy down the street said this, you'd be like, hey, we should probably fucking get this guy help, right? Like, all of a sudden,
if this was another country and the U.S. saw what was going on, the U.S. would intervene.
Yeah, world police.
Which, honestly, I've had thoughts of in like Canada. Are you there?
England, can you help us?
I tried.
No, they're still pissed about the Revolutionary War. They're not helping anybody.
That's their right to be pissed. Let them feel their feelings.
I tried to, when I went to visit Australia 2 years ago, I told Vanessa, I was like, my money could go really far here, because the cruise lines still pay in American dollars, but the American dollar goes further in Australia. And I was like, I could still get paid American US paychecks with fucking, and then, you know what I mean? Like, I would be immediately making a 25% pay increase immediately just by moving there. And Vanessa immediately shot me down. And anytime something bad happens, where it's like some crazy shit's happening, like where now the US is the fucking epicenter of this global pandemic, I look at Vanessa and be like, right, fucking told you, we could have been somewhere. Like right now, as of last week, when the last time I talked to Mayor Senior, there were 6 cases of COVID in the entire fucking continent of Australia. And I was like, you see, we could have fucking been there, but no, fucking all of a sudden you want to stay here.
I realized during this whole situation that like people that aren't political, or people that say they are political, or not being interested in politics, is a huge privilege to have, because that literally means that what's happening is not affecting you.
And I think that
the definition of privilege is not thinking that something is a problem because it doesn't directly affect you.
Right. And I think that the climate, the political climate, has forced people's hands to get involved and find out what the hell is going on, because it's, all joking aside, like, this is a very scary thing to watch, especially for people who, here's my perspective, is that I'm a daughter of an immigrant. Steph, you have, Cuban American. Neri, you're a son of immigrants, and you or yourself are an immigrant. And so, why do people immigrate to this country? Because things were so shitty in their country that the things that they saw, the atrocities that they saw, they came here because the American promise was, you can safely chase your dreams and be whoever you want to be, and nobody's gonna bother you. Like, that's oversimplifying, but that was the commercial. And now, me personally, like, seeing things like what the administration was doing in Portland, where they were sending like unmarked law enforcement vehicles to arrest people and not saying to them why, or just pick them up from the street and take them to undisclosed locations. Like, Pinochet did that shit in Chile. Okay. He did that shit, and he used to do that in stadiums, and like 4,000 people never came home, and like hundreds of thousands of people were taken and then released. But the trauma is fucking there.
Yeah.
So when you're watching this shit,
and that trauma lasts generations. So that affected my family, and that inevitably affected how they raised me and how I experienced it, because I have always had to be political because my father is Cuban and my mother is Chilean. I can't escape this shit. Like, it's in my blood. So watching things that you yourself have heard your family go through in the land that was promised to you as, chase your dreams and nobody will bother you for being who you are, is fucking terrifying. It's fucking terrifying. So even if you terrifying is watching those same people that are like, oh, we left for XYZ reasons, like, defend that and say that it's the opposite of what happened to them. It's like, I don't understand how the parallels are not, like, my my parents. Missy didn't know this about me. I'm actually second generation American. My parents were both born here, but my grandmother thinks that like Jesus Christ gave birth to Donald Trump. So and I'm like, I don't understand. Like, your uncles were murdered in front of their mother by the Castro regime. So like, I don't understand where at some point like you lose where the disconnect is, where you don't see that. You don't see how that's like we're going to, whatever. I don't want to get dark.
But it's just it just depends on how you look at politics. Is it a team sport, or are you or is it something else? Because if you're looking at it as a team sport, that's the only way I can rationalize people justifying and defending anyone who does atrocities.
That's the definition of party over country. That's the dumbest shit. Where it's like, like when people use the phrase team sport, like this is this is not directly at you, Missy, because I've heard it a bunch of other times. I always think I'm like, the team should be America, right? Like that's to be the fucking team. Like I'm not trying to be a dick, and I'm really not trying to be that fucking rah ooh, wow USA number one type of shit. But your team, when speaking of politics and what's going on in that specific country, your team should be that specific country. If you are a citizen of country ABC, and within that ABC there's like different political views and parties, that's all fine and dandy, but the team should be fucking ABC. Like that's all I'm saying. Like it's so dumb and ridiculous to me that people are like, like I have personal friends who I grew up with, and for all intents and purposes they're really great people, and then to see what they post on social media and how they shit about family values with Make America Great Again hats, and then like this whole long dissertation on their fucking post about why they're voting for this guy because of family values and because I care about my children. It's like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like I shared in the chat with you guys just like an hour ago before the recording started. This guy was like, unfollow me if you want, but I have common sense and I'm voting for that. And I'm like, that's the absolute fucking opposite of common sense. This is fucking crazy to me. And it's like I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yes. I agree with you. I really there are people that I can't look at the same way anymore. I gotta be, I'm the same way, bro. If it wasn't for this, and on top of that, everything that's happened in the last 5 months with regards to the pandemic because it has, of course that was politicized, even though it shouldn't have been. But it was politicized, and even people, just seeing how people have behaved during the pandemic in my immediate circle, like outside of you guys, like has completely, I can't think of people that I've been friends with my whole life. Yeah. People that I've known my whole life. I can't see them. I'm not saying I'm cutting them out, but I'm just saying I can't see them. I don't have the respect I once had for them.
I agree.
I cannot see them in the same light. I can't. I
have a group of friends that we have a long going chat on WhatsApp. Like it's been going on for years, on WhatsApp. It used to be an email thread. And then when WhatsApp happened, we went over to WhatsApp, and ever since the when the world got on fire, the last episode that we like that one, all those things were happening, and the riots and let me rephrase that, and the.
Do you think this is happening because you didn't forward a chain letter?
Legit, like I don't even think that's why, because I forwarded every single one of those, and people hated me for that shit.
I think it's because I haven't joined Beachbody yet.
It could also be because you didn't share the Obi-Wan Jesus on your
so all of these, like when the protests started happening, and like then these people, and I say these people, like these are my friends that I've known since middle school. Like I'm fucking 30, I'll be 39 next week. I'm a fucking grown ass man, and I'm talking about, and I've hung out with these same guys since middle school. This isn't like a passing, some guy that I met fucking 3 years ago, right? But the shit that they would say, I was like, yo, I don't want to be in this fucking group chat anymore. It's not about being in a group chat. It's like, I am losing respect for what the fuck. I'm in disbelief with what is being said right now. And not only that, the fact that you guys think you're right, it's really fucking it's like, it's really sad. And
I didn't realize how racist people are.
Like low-key racist.
Didn't.
Like a lot of my friends doing the same sort of low.
Not low-key like that. Like I knew that it was.
I don't see color.
I'm not one of these people that's ignorant to that racism didn't exist after the civil rights movement. But I was just like, I became very aware of like microaggressions recently.
Yeah.
Like within the last year, and I can't.
Shit, like if they just listened to the police officer, none of that would have happened. It's like, what the fuck?
That's not true.
Like it's so that to me is like fucking racist, right? That's like low-key racist comments to me. Like those are the type of shit that I'm like, what are you fucking talking about?
That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Like that, I'm like, what are you talking about? And
those are the same people that say things like, "Oh, you got raped. Well, what were you wearing?" Those are the same motherfuckers.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So I'm sure you ladies know this already. My wife and I have been trying to get pregnant since January, right? And aside from a bunch of 1,000 different things going on in my head as far as trying to get pregnant again, we shut in December. In my mind, I've always had like the people that I want to be the godfather of my children, right? The godparents of my children. And one of them is in that chat. And he literally, again, this child isn't conceived or born or whatever, but he literally talked his way out of being the godfather of my child. And he doesn't know this. It's not like something, it's not like I was like, well, you were in the running. But
he received his Hogwarts letter and now you're going to take it from him?
Yeah, like it's not like he was like, what do you, it's not like you're like, oh, we rescind the nomination. Like it's none of that shit, right? But like the shit that he was saying, I was just like, I can't. Like I love this person as a human being so much, but the shit that was said to me, it's like, we've all heard this before, right? Like you can't take back things you say. Like it's out there.
Right.
It's out. The moment you say it, it's fucking out there. Now, whether somebody chooses to not think about it or they choose to forgive you for that, that's awesome and that's great and that's fine. But the fact remains that it still was said. And so now I'm just like, I don't go into that. I haven't been into that chat in probably 2 months. I didn't know when it apparently throughout one of the updates, WhatsApp stopped counting how many unread messages you have, where it gets to 999 and then it just adds a plus. And it used to tell you like 4,000 messages and shit like that. But I just haven't read it in 2 months. I'm like, I'm not going into that fucking chat anymore. I'm not going into that thread anymore. And like, I'll even go as far as to reach out to these people individually about nonsense. Did you see the Heat game? Did you blah, blah, blah? This shit happened. Oh, look at this funny story.
Right.
Look at this funny story.
Superficial.
Yeah, but I leave it at like, I don't even know. I wouldn't call it superficial because that's just what I call regular conversations. But anything that has deep meaning. So maybe I guess it is superficial, but I'm just like, hey, this is a funny story I read, or look at this funny post, or look at this picture of this hot chick with this fucking her ass out on Instagram, and look at this delicious food, and like all this shit that we just talked and laugh about, this new song, and we've talked about WAP and all this shit there, and I just refuse to go into that chat that's gonna be like anything serious, because I'm just like, you're not, I like what you said, Steph. I'm like, I just don't respect you the same way. And it's been
it makes me
weird.
sad. It makes me sad because I know.
Sad.
It makes me sad because I know that they're not like inherently bad people.
Thank you. Yes.
But it's just like there's a level that there's just things I can't look past anymore, and I don't hate them, and I don't wish ill upon them or anything like that. It's just like if forever in my brain, like it will be tainted.
But they will never be the godfather of my parent or my kid.
They will never know.
And I think that because it just comes a certain point in time where, because I think we have, we're not having conversations about politics anymore. We argue, we fight with each other. So that's the temperament that you approach things. And so that has escalated political opinions to where they're deal breakers now. So where in the past, look, when Obama was president and this happens often. And it's just been in the past 3.5 years that I have more people agreeing with my perspective than I did in the past. But the entire 8 years that I was an outspoken supporter of the Obama administration, I got called names all the fucking time. And I got called names, like all kinds of shitty ass names, because of the way that I did not fit into what the majority of the room was supporting. And so now, and that wasn't a deal breaker for me. I took that shit in and I had to fucking deal with it. And I had to and it was a moment where I would get into Facebook fights and I would do everything that everybody, that is the normal of when you're arguing politics. But I got called fucking names and I was outnumbered in my political views forever and a day. And that didn't fucking break any friendship. So what does it say to the climate now, to the state of affairs now, that so many people that typically would have been in polar opposite opinions about things are meeting halfway, and it's such a degree of atrocities that it's a fucking deal breaker now. It's a deal breaker now if you're gonna outright say shit that is
because there's a difference between there's a difference between saying I like this administration. Right, like if you said, like when you were talking about Obama, you're like, I'm a supporter of Obama. That never entailed the hate that this administration seems to inflame. Right, like people saying I'm a fan of Obama's or the Obama's administration. When they would say that, they weren't saying I didn't like your rights. I didn't like rights against you. I didn't vote for kids in cages. I didn't vote. You know what I mean? Like that's all. That's what you're saying when you say things like that's what I get as a human being when somebody defends this administration. It's not that they're defending this administration. It's that specific issues.
Defending everything.
They're defending they're defending specific issues that I have great contrast with, not politically but socially, as a human being,
like on a human person, level,
like morally,
yes, morally. Like I'm not even the most moral person on earth. I just told you about earlier in this episode, I was like peeing on somebody. All right, you don't want to do that, you fucking prude. Like I'm not even the most morally I'm not the most morally person on the planet. I'm just saying, you know what I don't find moral? Putting kids in cages and then saying shit like, well, it's their parents' fault for putting them in this situation. It's like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, how crazy is that? How fucking crazy is that? And it's how crazy is it to hear fucking other Latinos say this shit? Mostly Cubans, but whatever the fuck. Other Latinos say this shit. How crazy is it when they say, fucking, oh, if he just didn't fight back, if he just did what the cops said, he wouldn't be shot. Like, no, Breonna Taylor didn't say anything. She was sleeping in her fucking house and she got fucking killed. How do you, to me, when you say things like I like the Obama administration, you're not saying I hate you and I hate your fucking your right to live and I hate your right to love whoever you want to love. Those three things do not come across when you say I love the Obama administration or I love the George Bush administration. But this specific administration is.
Y'all remember how much everybody hated Bush?
For real. That's you gotta be. If I'm Bush, dude, I'm loving.
We would trade him in 45
But
seconds
here's the thing.
If we could.
If you're Bush, you gotta be loving the fact that this dude is in the White House. You gotta be like, I'm not the worst anymore. Like you just gotta fucking.
And that's what I was saying is that it's what you said, Mary, is like there was a time, and it seems like such a long time ago, but it's true. There was a time where you could disagree with people
and be fine.
And be fine and just have a political discussion. Mm-hmm. I personally got called a lot of names. I will hold that. I will use that card forever because I went through some shit with that. And because I've always been outnumbered in my political views. South Florida is notorious for being very conservative. So
it's actually not. It's actually not conservative. It's not conservative at all.
So forget South Florida. Miami-Dade County is notorious.
It's our bubble. I'm telling you, Miami is a blue county. I promise you that. That's the data, repeatedly over and over again. Where we are and our circle is very over
there.
Within a 10-mile radius of my circle, then yes, I have notoriously been on the opposite end of the political opinions, and I have been fucking called all kinds of names and accused of all kinds of shit all 8 years that Obama was president. And I took it in the fucking chin, and I'm still friends with everybody, and I'll still go to fucking Thanksgiving dinner with you, and we'll still hang out, and I'll wish you a happy birthday, because that's how I write. But now,
because when they go low, you go high.
When they go low, I get high. And the thing is that the stakes are so when the stakes are so fucking bad now, and it's not even political, it's just like on a human level, what are we going to stand for as a country? Then now there's no room for that shit anymore. There's no room for compromise because it's escalated to such a fucking ridiculous reality show, like worst nightmare reality show you could ever watch, that it is a fucking deal breaker. That friends that you've had for decades, they don't even know it, but you're like, you just lost a really cool chance to be my kid's godfather. They don't even fucking know it. People that I, would typically. And this is a rule that I made for myself a long time ago. It's like, if I'm outnumbered, I'm not going to fucking state my opinion. Think whatever the fuck you want. But I know that me speaking up in a room of outnumbered people, I'm taking on the whole fucking room. And I just don't feel like doing that anymore. But now it's such a point where I'm kind of rolling back on that, because if I'm sitting at a dinner table and you're saying some fuck shit that is 100% false, that you're fucking getting from a tabloid that is presenting itself as journalism, I have to fucking call you out on it and tell you, because at this point, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night anymore, because it's not about a difference of opinion. You're fucking endorsing horrific crimes against humans. Like, it's not normal. This isn't a fucking regular thing of like, oh, but I think he'll be better for the economy. Nobody's fucking said shit about the economy. Nobody said shit about the economy. We're just trying to fucking save. Like,
I always, I said that I said that 4 years ago, 4 years ago. I said that too. It was a friend. They were going back and forth on Facebook with me. It was like right before the election, right before he got voted in, and this guy's gonna be, he said that Obama was awful for the. He is a small business owner, and he was awful for putting out the banking restrictions and da. So he would go on and on. And my reply to him was, I go, I'm not a businessman. So you may be 1,000% right. I have no idea. I don't have any research or any backup, any facts or numbers on what you're saying, what you're presenting to me. So for the sake of argument, I'm going to go ahead and say you are completely and 1,000% right about the business aspect. However, when I vote for somebody, I'm not voting for them because of a business aspect. I'm voting for them as a human being. And this person is a piece of fucking shit. And I said to them, you could think of me whatever you want. And I'm telling you, all these arguments you're presenting to me are all about dollars and cents. And you may be 1,000% right. In fact, I'm telling you are, because I don't know anything about that world. All I know is that a human being should not be treated this way. And I said that when they talked about grabbing by the pussy. I was like, this is not a person that should be fucking president. I'm sorry. If the fucking woohoo guy, the fucking that guy, if the fucking guy can't fucking be president because he fucking went then the fucking grab him by the pussy guy should not be fucking president. I mean, what the fuck world are we living in? How is that humanly possible? And I sort of got, I feel like I'm in an alternate universe where it's like fucking irony and to the nth degree, where they're like, and then we're gonna make the grab him by the pussy guy be the candidate for the family first fucking party, for the fucking for the party that believes in quote unquote family values. It's like that's, and nobody sees the fucking irony in this. Like how and by nobody I mean his supporters don't see the fucking irony in this. My friends who are fucking uber religious and fucking are huge Bible thumpers, they fucking are chanting for this guy. I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, this is bananas to me. Like, this whole level of irony is bananas. Anyways, we're gonna stop it there because we could go on and on. Typically we're not that political, but again,
my blood pressure is high. We can't keep doing this.
Typically, to the listeners, typically we don't get this political. It's just, again, Republican National Convention, Democratic National Convention, shit's been going on in the news, and for us to ignore it is fucking ridiculous. To ignore this ludicrous lunacy, I should say. With that said, make sure I will perform wherever you want to perform at a fucking KKK rally. If the price is right, I'll fucking do it. Stephanie is a fantastic event coordinator. So
yeah, but I'm not coordinating any KKK weddings. I do draw the line. So
well, I mean, whatever. If you want to check out her, just don't tell her it's a KKK thing, and then when you get there, be like, oh no, we just want a lot of crosses. Can you put them on fire? So if you go to her website, is eventsbyu.com. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or Miami Events by You.
You're right. Sorry, it's been a while. Miami Events by You.
Miami Events by You, the letter U.com. And then her Instagram is events_by_ the letter U. So that's events_by_you. So check that out. Missy's writing. Missy, we're going to get any writing anytime soon? I know you just graduated. First of all, can we give a shout out to the graduate in the room right now?
Thank God that wasn't loud.
Congratulations.
I love that sound.
Congratulations.
I love that sound so much. Thank you. Yes, now that I have my life back, I'm working on a couple pieces and it should be interesting. I'm trying to hold off on one piece for Hispanic Heritage Month, but I'm itching to hit publish now.
Pull the trigger.
So if you want to check out my stuff, you can go to missywrites.com or follow me on Instagram at Missy the Writer. On Instagram.
The as in
TikTok,
DA? Missy the writer?
TikTok. Missy the Writer.
Not DA? Not Missy DA writer?
No, not the writer. The writer.
So check out my comedy naryscience.com or whatwashisname.com. And if you are a fan of the podcast, we have a donation button. And so if you go to geekbro.net, where you can find all of our podcasts at geekbro.net, you can find the other podcasts that include the Mount Geekmore podcast, Pero Let Me Tell You, Comedy Fitness, The Layer. So make sure you guys check that out at geekbro.net. There's also, when you go to the WuBro page or the Mount Geekmore page, there is a donation button. So if you want to donate, we would love for you to donate. Every year we get a couple of the same people donating, and we're thankful. We are grateful for them. So thank you very much for that. You could do that. Not saying it, I'm just saying, fucking free entertainment. You guys been great. Thank you very much. That's how winning is done.